When Farrah Fawcett caught Ryan O'Neal with another woman, she was horrified. But when she confronted him, his excuse was far more twisted than the infidelity itself. Farrah Fawcett could have gone down in history as the angel who fell from grace and messed up her career. But despite winning awards for her bad acting, she didn't give up. But in a cruel twist of fate, her real life became as traumatic as the roles she was playing. Farrah Fawcett was born in Texas on February 2nd, 1947. Her mother made up the name Farrah because it meshed perfectly with the family's surname, Fawcett. During high school, her fellow students started noticing Fawcett's beauty. When it came time to vote for the title of the most beautiful, she took the trophy home not once, not twice, not 3 times, but an amazing 4 times. But Fawcett was as smart as she was beautiful. After a false start in microbiology, Fawcett changed her major and started studying sculpture. She even started working with a mentor and seemed to be on track to becoming a sculptor, but fate had another plan in store for her. Somehow, photos of Fawcett made it to several Hollywood agencies, and one agent in particular had his eye on her. This was David Mirisch, who sent Fawcett offer after offer to start her career as a model or actor. In 1968, Fawcett decided she'd give Mirisch a try, and with her parents' blessing, she moved to LA. She had no idea what to expect. Fawcett arrived in Los Angeles, where she moved into the Hollywood Studio Club, a sort of sorority for young women in the entertainment business. Screen Gems quickly plucked Fawcett from the masses of hopefuls and signed her. Fawcett was just 21 at the time. In the beginning, she starred in TV ads, selling anything from toothpaste to mattresses. During this time, Fawcett was set up on a coffee date with Lee Majors, an up-and-coming actor who some called the Blonde Elvis. Sparks flew between Fawcett and Majors, and they began dating. Fawcett's boyfriend, who would go on to star in TV's The $6 Million Man, received an offer to appear in Myra Breckinridge. This was a controversial film version of Gore Vidal's gender-bending novel. Majors didn't want to be in the movie, but he thought Fawcett might. She said yes, but it was a decision she'd soon regret. Fawcett had little experience in show business and was about to learn some cruel lessons. Her blonde co-star, Mae West, demanded that the producers dye Fawcett's hair brown because she didn't want any competition. Then, Raquel Welch demanded that they re-dye it as she was the brunette. With all the huge egos, it's no surprise that Myra Breckinridge was a huge flop. This wasn't the start Fawcett wanted for her career in Hollywood. In spite of Major's terrible advice to do Myra Breckinridge, Fawcett still decided to marry him. She also decided to take on his name and became known as Farrah Fawcett Majors. Unfortunately, her career troubles weren't over yet. By 1976, Fawcett's beauty had claimed so much attention that a poster company convinced her to do a bathing suit photo shoot. Fawcett arrived at the photo shoot ready to do her own hair and makeup. That's when she got a rude surprise. No one had bothered to pack a mirror. Fawcett faced the near impossible task of getting herself ready for a photo shoot without a mirror. She did her best and went ahead with the shoot. They took 40 photos, and she chose 6 as the top contenders. Even without the use of a mirror, the image they eventually chose became the best-selling poster in history. But a poster couldn't make someone a star. She also needed some luck. If the poster of Fawcett in her red bathing suit didn't make her a star, maybe playing tennis could. One day, she was on the courts and actor Michael York saw her. He was about to start working on a movie, and he recommended her for a part. She could only hope this was a better experience than her first film. The movie York was working on was a sci-fi film called Logan's Run. In this fictional future, people worship youth and are very hedonistic. As a symbol of the hedonism, they gave Fawcett a shag haircut. Both the haircut and Fawcett became very popular. This wouldn't be the last time Fawcett's hair caused a stir. Meanwhile, back on the tennis courts, Fawcett and Majors were playing doubles with TV producer Aaron Spelling. Spelling was developing a project for ABC, and he'd seen Fawcett flexing her acting chops in Logan's Run. He thought Fawcett would be perfect for one of the parts. Little did she know, this role would change her life forever. The project Spelling was working on was called Charlie's Angels. The show starred Fawcett, Kate Jackson, and Jaclyn Smith as female private detectives. Fawcett became the most popular angel. Though even more popular than Fawcett herself was her hairstyle. It became famous internationally and received 3 different names: Farrah Do, Farrah Flip, and Farrah Hair. During the first season of Charlie's Angels, Fawcett took home the People's Choice Award for Favorite Performer in a new TV program. In an interview, she said, "When the show was number 3, I thought it was our acting. When we got to number 1, I decided it could only be because none of us wears a bra." The critics were not always kind to Charlie's Angels and even invented a new term to disparage it. Because Fawcett and the other angels were often in revealing outfits, they called it jiggle television. But critics don't always know what audiences like, and Charlie's Angels became a huge hit. At this point, Farrah Fawcett was making half of Kate Jackson's salary, and she had to fix this. Since appearing on Charlie's Angels, sales of Fawcett's red bathing suit poster had gone through the roof. In fact, the poster became so popular, it made more money for Fawcett than what the show was paying her. But Fawcett knew she was carrying the show. She was ready to make some demands. Meanwhile, ABC was taking full advantage of Fawcett's popularity and plastering her face on any kind of merchandise they could think of. And she was only getting 2% of the revenue. In addition, they only offered her $10,000 per episode of Charlie's Angels. Reportedly, what Fawcett wanted was 10% of the merchandise and $75,000 an episode. But this wasn't the only thing she was looking for. While they were negotiating her contract, ABC noticed that Fawcett was saying no to almost everything they offered. The truth was, Fawcett didn't want to continue with Charlie's Angels. She was through with Jiggle TV. Fawcett was ready to walk away, but there was a problem. According to the production company, she was still under contract. In response, Fawcett argued that she'd already started acting in Charlie's Angels before signing a contract. That's when the lawyers arrived. Between the first and second seasons of Charlie's Angels, lawyers for Fawcett and ABC battled it out. In the meantime, Fawcett started looking into doing the movies she'd always wanted to do. She was up for a role in Foul Play opposite funny man Chevy Chase. When ABC found out, they did something that would stop Fawcett in her tracks. The producers of Charlie's Angels made it very clear that if anyone wanted to hire Fawcett for an acting job, they would face a lawsuit. The producers of Foul Play got nervous and gave the role to Goldie Hawn. This scared Fawcett, and she quickly went back to the negotiating table and settled with ABC. Fawcett had missed out on Foul Play, which went on to be a hit, but landed a part in Somebody Killed Her Husband, opposite Academy Award nominated Jeff Bridges. The film raked in $1 million in pre-sales, and there was huge anticipation for the movie, and Fawcett hoped the project would launch her cinematic career. Sadly, the film was a flop, and the media were particularly unkind. One critic nicknamed the film "Somebody Killed Her Career." This was not how Fawcett wanted to start her post-Charlie's Angels era. But something even worse was coming. Fawcett was hoping a serious role in 1979's Sunburn would fix the situation. It did not. Sunburn was another box office flop, and Fawcett's career continued its downward spiral. In her next film, Saturn III, Fawcett's co-star was Kirk Douglas. Because of Charlie's Angels and her red bathing suit poster, Fawcett got top billing, and the producers insisted Fawcett go topless for one scene, which only made matters worse. Partway through filming Saturn III, the producers fired the director, and before they could find a replacement, Douglas stepped in. In one scene, Fawcett needed to have dirt on the back of her pants. Douglas used his own hand to apply the dirt to Fawcett's clothes and insisted that she be in them at the time. The filming was a terrible experience for Fawcett, but hopefully the final result would be worth it. Unfortunately, Saturn III was also a flop. Producers blamed Kirk Douglas's inexperience and ego, and Fawcett's underdeveloped character and bad acting. Fawcett received a Golden Raspberry nomination for Worst Actress and 2 Stinker's Bad Movie Awards nominations for the film. While filming Saturn III, Fawcett had to miss several days due to an illness. It actually wasn't Fawcett who wasn't doing well, it was her marriage. Fawcett and Majors were having problems, and after filming was over, the two decided to call it quits. They officially divorced in 1982. Fawcett needed to recover from her separation and from Saturn III. She decided to join an all-star cast in the Cannonball Run, a slapstick star-studded endeavor which did not get Fawcett away from Jiggle TV. Worse still, out of the entire cast of actors, only Fawcett got a nomination for yet another Golden Raspberry. Fawcett had failed again, and time was running out. She decided to try something completely different. So far, film hadn't been the best thing for Fawcett, so she went back to TV. Instead of another series, however, she appeared in the TV movie Murder in Texas. This was a serious effort from Fawcett. The movie was a hit, and while no one praised Fawcett's acting, at least no one said she was bad either. Encouraged by the success of Murder in Texas, Fawcett continued to pursue serious acting work. In 1984, she took on the lead role in The Burning Bed, a TV movie based on the true story of a woman who, after enduring years of domestic abuse, set her bed on fire with her husband still in it. The intense, emotionally charged role was a bold and risky choice for Fawcett, marking a sharp departure from her previous work. Audiences and critics loved The Burning Bed, and they especially loved Fawcett's performance. One critic called the movie one of the finest in the history of TV movies. To seal the deal, Fawcett picked up a nomination for a Primetime Emmy. This was a huge leap forward for Fawcett's career, but there may have been a sad reason why she was so good. Fawcett had first-hand experience of domestic violence. She'd been dating actor Ryan O'Neal, and everyone in Hollywood knew the relationship was toxic. Fawcett admitted that sometimes he broke her heart. Fawcett's life with O'Neal was always intense. The two shared an on-again, off-again relationship from 1979 to 1997. In spite of the volatile nature of their relationship, they decided to have a child together. In 1985, Redmond James Fawcett O'Neal was born. Fawcett was one of the most sought-after actresses in America, and yet O'Neal was unfaithful. Fawcett discovered O'Neal's affair with model and actress Leslie Ann Stephenson with her own eyes. Caught in the act, O'Neal tried to downplay the affair, telling Fawcett that Stephenson was more like a daughter than a lover. O'Neal had a knack for twisting his wrongdoings into absurd excuses, but in this case, his excuse was truly creepy. Unable to accept responsibility for his infidelity, O'Neal shifted the blame onto Fawcett, or more specifically, her body. She was going through menopause at the time, and he claimed he no longer found her attractive, and ended their nearly 2-decade-long relationship. But tragedy would bring the couple back together eventually. Despite her problems with O'Neill, Fawcett had hit a niche with her acting career, playing roles inspired by real women. It was very clear that Fawcett had done what she'd set out to do. She was a serious actress. And then she did something strange. Against all odds, Fawcett agreed to pose for Hugh Hefner's men's magazine. At 50 years old, she wanted to show some skin. The shoot came with a video in which Fawcett famously used her body as a giant paintbrush. To promote the spread, she appeared on the David Letterman show. It was nothing short of a disaster.
For exclusive perks like early access to new videos, priority replies to your comments, and to have your say on future content, consider becoming a Factinate member. On top of that, your support helps keep the channel going. Click the link in the description for more details.
From the moment the interview began, it was clear Fawcett wasn't herself. She even struggled to make her way onto the stage. While her answers made sense, her demeanor seemed off, prompting tabloids to speculate that Fawcett may have a possible substance abuse problem. Fawcett denied the rumors, but the real reason for her behavior remains a mystery. Around this time, Fawcett began a relationship with Canadian filmmaker James Orr and even appeared in his Disney film Man of the House. But the romance ended in tragedy when Orr was arrested and charged for physical abuse. Fawcett hadn't been lucky when it came to love, but there was one man who really wanted her. Robert Duvall was making a film called The Apostle, and he knew he wanted Fawcett to be in it. He offered one of 2 parts to her. She could play a character named Tuzi or play his wife. Fawcett chose Tuzi and then switched to the wife. When Miranda Richardson got the role of Tuzi, Fawcett decided she wanted it back. Duvall told Fawcett that she could play his wife in The Apostle or she could walk away. Fawcett decided to stay, and it was a good thing she did. The film was a success, and both Fawcett and Richardson received nominations from the Independent Spirit Awards. Now it was time to fix her personal life. Back when she was at the University of Texas, Fawcett had dated Greg Lott, a football player. In 1998, they got together again. The couple kept their relationship a secret, as there may have been some overlap with Fawcett's relationship with Ryan O'Neill. This would come back to haunt her. In 2001, O'Neill was diagnosed with leukemia. According to O'Neill, he and Fawcett rekindled their romance. O'Neill survived cancer, but it wasn't smooth sailing from there. Fawcett had her own devastating medical issues. Starting in 2006, Fawcett had a well-publicized battle with cancer. During her battle, O'Neill came to Fawcett's side. Since he didn't know anything about Greg Lott, O'Neill wouldn't let Fawcett see him. He also refused to let Fawcett spend her final days with Cher at her beach house. On June 25, 2009, Fawcett passed. Her will spoke volumes about how she felt about O'Neill. Farrah Fawcett left most of her estate to her son Redmond. She left other sums to various relatives and $100,000 to Lott. She did not mention O'Neill at all. Instead, O'Neill grabbed an Andy Warhol painting that belonged to Fawcett, worth somewhere between $800,000 and $12 million, and went to court to hang on to it. Reportedly, Farrah Fawcett preferred cremation over burial, at least according to her friend Craig Nevius, who said she never wanted to become a tourist attraction. But if that was truly her wish, it wasn't honored. Instead, she was laid to rest at Westwood Village Memorial Park in Los Angeles. And that wasn't the worst part. When O'Neill died in 2023, he delivered one final disservice to Fawcett. He had himself buried beside her, and added his name to her tombstone. If you enjoyed this Factinate video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more incredible stories. Want a say in who we cover next? Join our membership program through the link in the description for exclusive perks. Your support means everything to us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.